Don't stop.
Hi, thanks for joining me in the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman. Today is the gay bit. I do a gay bit every Friday, and it is basically if my show was not gay enough for you throughout the week, I bring you an episode where I'm focusing on something maybe a little bit more gay than normal. But my subject today is family, because a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community have to pick their chosen family. Even straight people sometimes at some point have to pick their chosen family. And the reason why you have to pick your chosen family is because your biological family is not accepting you for one reason or another. And I'll tell you what made me bring this subject up. Because I was watching some YouTube videos and there was a whole series of videos. I think I watched 3 or 4 videos in a row of kid after kid or young adult after young adult telling their parents or mother or just their father that they were gay. And there was one video where it was a boy and his father. I mean, he was probably in high school or early college. He was telling his father, Dad, I got to tell you something. And the kid's filming it secretly. He goes, but I got to tell you something and then I'm gay. And the father's like, hey, it's okay. It's fine. And the kid's crying and he's upset. And I think he expected a worse reaction. And the father totally accepted it. And then there was a girl or a young woman who comes into the living room with her 2 parents. And she says, Mom, Dad, I got to tell you something. I am a lesbian. They're like, great. Well, we're straight. What do you want us to do? Do you want us? Yay, you're a lesbian. Great. Yay. We're happy for you. And they made it like it was no big deal. Like, who cares? You're labeling yourself to us and you don't need to, is basically what the parents were saying. There was another one where a boy was sitting, he was definitely in high school, was sitting in the kitchen with his mom. He goes, Mom, I got to tell you something. He starts crying and she goes, go ahead and tell me. The mom's like, I know what you're going to say. Are you gay? And he goes, yes. And she goes, I've known for a long time and it's okay. And it was just so heartwarming. These parents have unconditional love for their children. And the kids needed to tell their parents this. So I'm watching these 3 or 4 videos. It's so heartwarming. I love it. And then I get to the next video and it's the opposite. It's kids telling their parents on it with a hidden camera that they're gay and the parents are not accepting. This one mother, I think she was a single mother, tells her child, I can't have a gay kid living here. Get out of my house now. Pack your stuff and go. Whatever you can pack it in one bag, pack it and get out. And she kicked him out. And then there was another one where this boy was telling his 2 parents sitting in the kitchen table that he was gay. And I think he thought that they were going to accept it. And they said, this is not what God has in store for my son. Get out. Kicked him out. It was one video after the other where parents either got up and walked away, didn't accept it, kicked him out. And it's horrible. And there was a guy that he was on TikTok or Instagram Reels or something. This is 2 years ago. He was a young kid. It was him and his dog living in his car because he was posting on, I don't know, it must have been Instagram, I guess. And he was kind of posting his life every day and kind of saying what was going on. And then at one point he's posting, he's like, I have no money. I'm 17 years old. Me and my dog are living in my car because my parents kicked me out because I was gay. And so I ended up Venmoing him money to get food. And then he, came back and a couple weeks later in another video where he didn't have food or whatever. And so maybe I would send him another $50 or something because I felt really bad for them because I did not have to go through that. I am so lucky that my parents, yes, my dad did not accept it right away whenever I told him I was gay. 6 months of not talking to me, living in the same house is one thing, but he did not kick me out. And my mother was upset, because I think she wanted grandchildren and she wanted, she expected a certain life from me that she, kind of everything changed. The fact that they never knew I was gay growing up is just beyond me. But I've told that story before, but I was lucky. Andrew, my husband, was so lucky. He told his parents, they accepted it. His sister accepted it, all his nieces and nephews. His grandfather, who was in his 90s, accepted us both and loved us unconditionally. So, unconditional love is just so, so important. But a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community don't have that. They don't have the unconditional love. They don't have that consistency. They don't have that warmth coming. So, family is really important because it's where you can learn so much things, but you can also learn to disappear. And I don't mean to like physically disappear, I mean emotionally and energetically and psychologically. You can really make yourself disappear in front of your family. You know, that slow, quiet disappearing act where you're still there, but you're not fully you. You're kind of being like a version of you, you're being a curated version of yourself. You're more quiet, you're more soft. You're trying to be more accepted by your family because you don't want them to know that you're different than everybody else. And I think a lot of LGBTQ people understand exactly what I mean when I say that because we've all kind of gone through that. You know, we have this language to describe who we are. We already have an awareness that maybe we're different when we're growing up, that we're not received the same way. And that awareness really does change you as a person. It kind of who you become when you get older is based all on how you are raised and what you're taught when you're growing up, how you learn to survive, how you learn to have a thicker skin when you're bullied or when you're said things. Growing up, you have to learn how to have a certain tone and your body language has to be the right way and you overthink those things, you know, your reaction to things. And sometimes, like, you want to, you know, whenever you're younger, you want to scream like a girl, even though you're a boy, but you got to kind of control that. Or you're a girl and you want to play football with the boys, and because you are a lesbian, or maybe you're transgender. So there's a lot of adjusting that LGBTQ people have to do when you're growing up. It's almost like you're shape shifting in a way to be someone that is accepted by everyone. Becoming who you need to be in each room and just stay comfortable or safe is so important. And I just want to pause there because I think this is important to say. I know not everyone has that same experience. Everybody's experience is completely unique and different. And again, I am so lucky that I have parents that accepted me for who I was, that love me. They love me unconditionally. Andrew is so lucky that he has parents who loved him unconditionally whenever he came out as being gay. His sister, his nieces and nephews, his grandfather, who died in his 90s, loved us together so much. His grandmother loved us so much. My grandmother, if she would have met Andrew, she would have loved him. One of my grandmothers, I think both my grandmothers would have. One would have loved him for sure. The other one was a bit more religious, but I think she would have accepted it, which I think she might have. You know, who knows? I'll never know, or I won't know until, you know, maybe I die and I'm with her in spirit somehow. But maybe that's when I'll find out if she's accepted it. But I don't take any of that for granted about being so lucky having two families that basically love us unconditionally. So even with love and acceptance, I can still see it. I still see it in the community. These videos just like stirred something up in me. You know, you hear these stories. I have a friend, Gary, who told his mother, who was very, very accepting of it, loved him, did not care. She was a dance teacher. So she met lots of gay people in her career as a dance teacher. His sister did accept it for a while, but then the grandmother who didn't accept it tore them apart. And, you know, last time I talked to Gary, they didn't talk for more than a decade. So he had no family because his mother died, his father died. It was his sister and grandmother left. He has cousins, but unfortunately, Gary just disappeared off the face of the earth and nobody knows where he is. And that's a podcast I did maybe 2 years ago at this point where Gary's missing and he's still not found. But back to this story, you know, we all at one point or another had to kind of fight for who we were in some way or another. We had to choose between being ourselves or just being accepted. And that all matters because this is really a conversation about kind of doing experiments on who you are. What's the experience you have whenever you do this experiment to maybe come out a little more or to say something? Everybody has a different experience growing up, a different experience when you come out. Some people don't come out, they live their whole life in the closet, unhappy. Again, my friend David, who at 52 years old, when I did a podcast with him a few months ago, came out at the age of 52 and told his wife and two kids and had to tell his family and tell his in laws. That is so fucking brave. You got to think how brave it is that you're risking. He didn't know for sure if his three boys were going to accept it or not. And they did. And they love him the same, if not more, probably. But he is now finding his chosen family. He has his real family, which he's lucky, but he's also finding his chosen family. He's found somebody that he's dating, that he is in love with now. And it's really, really amazing that people, even at the age of 52, are still figuring out who they are and living their authentic life. And we'll be right back. Okay, and now back to the show. It's people who come into your life and meet you exactly where you are, not because they have to, because they want to. And that is a huge distinction. It changes everything. Growing up, before I told my parents that I was gay, I met all these friends that were gay. Their parents, maybe half of them knew. And when I'd go to their house and meet their parents, totally fine. Like, it was so nice. And it kind of groomed me to be able to tell my parents one day, or gave me hope or faith that, oh, maybe my parents would be like these parents and stuff. So I don't know. There's so many choices you have to make whenever you're coming out and picking the people that's going to be your chosen family. Chosen family is also important because these are the people that show up without any obligation. They support you without any exception. It's unconditional love. And this just hits so differently. And I think for a lot of us, even if we have loving families, there are still part of ourselves that we've had to discover outside of those structures. There are conversations you can only have with people who get it. So I have all these experiences growing up, in college as a gay kid, and then moving to New York as a gay adult and being in a relationship. And I can talk to my mom about it. I can talk to my straight friends about it, but they weren't there. They didn't live it. They don't totally understand it. These type of experiences only resonate with certain people who have lived something similar. And it's weird. Whenever I lived in Manhattan, whenever I lived in South Beach, it's like an island where I remember like thinking, most of the people that live here are all gay or bisexual or transgender or part of the LGBTQ plus community. South Beach was really, really LGBTQ plus in the 90s. And I always felt that comfort whenever I lived in South Beach in college, where I'm like, oh God, we're all the same. We're like a community. It felt like a real community. You can go out any night of the week to a restaurant or a bar and just feel safe and feel welcomed. And it just, I don't know, it just always made. And when I moved to New York, I had that same feeling in a lot of ways. Like, we're all living on this little island. And there's so many gay people that live here. And I can go down to Chelsea. Chelsea was the gay hot neighborhood at the time. And go down to Chelsea and just be with people that understand who I am as a person. They understand my identity. I don't have to pretend with them. I can be who I want. If I want to be super ultra gay, I can. If I want to be swishy, if I wanted to wear a fucking dress to a bar, I could have. And it's just really, it's something different when people when they get you and you can be your authentic self, it feels so refreshing after so many years of pretending to be something that maybe you weren't your authentic self. So that's, chosen family becomes something really, really special to a lot of people. And it's not about replacing your family at all. Some people, it is about replacing their family if their family didn't accept who they are. It's adding something to your life that feels aligned, expansive, and real. It's about finding people who understand your language, even if you don't fully have the words yet. And those people, those become your anchors. And I have many anchors like that in my life. My friend Jennifer, my friend Gina, my friend Matt, I have multiple friends. Obviously, my friend Mandy, who I have had on my show multiple times. I have my friend Tony. I have so many people that are anchors in my life where no matter what I did or what I've said or how I've acted, or if I committed crimes or whatever I did, they would be there for me. Those are the ones that I call whenever something amazing happens. Those are the ones I lean on when I'm kind of falling apart or when something doesn't go my way. Those are the ones who remind me who I am whenever I forget kind of who I am sometimes. Those are the ones who are straight up my friends no matter what. They will call me out on something, but they see me clearly more than anyone else. There's no exception. There's no history that I have to live up to. There's no version who I have to attach myself to. They know who I am and they love me for who I am. And that's really powerful because, to be honest, a lot of people always search for that chosen family and don't always find it. And I feel so lucky that I have my biological family. I have Andrew's family, who I consider my biological family. And I have all these amazing friends. And these people have been in my life for years, for decades, some of them, since the sixth grade, some of them. I mean, it's crazy. And do we have misunderstandings? Yes. Was I a bitch at points and got mad at my friends sometimes and didn't speak to them? Yes. Did that still happen sometimes? Yes. And I have cut a lot of these people out of my life over the years, which I've talked about 1,000 times on this podcast about when I turned 50 and even after 50. When people aren't part of my narrative anymore, I feel like that chapter of my life with them is like a book. That chapter ended, and I'm moving on to the next chapter. And their history, I won't forget them, but I don't need them in the future chapters of my life. There's an accountability that certain people don't take when they're my friends, and if you don't take it, you can't be in my circle anymore. But the people that are, like, there's just certain friends that no matter what happens, even if we don't talk every week, every month, they will always be part of my life no matter what. There's never going to be a disconnection. Those are the people that whenever things aren't comfortable, they do not pull away. They are there for you. They don't disappear when things get really real, or whenever you're sad, or whenever you're having a bad day, or you're having a shit month, or whatever. And those type of people are so, so rare. And if you have those people in your life, you should cherish them so much because they are worth everything. They are worth their weight in gold, or whatever the saying is. Like, it just, they are so special. And again, I feel so lucky to have had those people. I'm still growing, I'm still changing, I'm still becoming somebody, I'm still becoming myself in a lot of ways. This podcast is changing me in so many ways. And that chosen family that I have, they are growing with me, they're supporting me, they're expanding with me. We're talking about different things. And again, people come into your life for reasons. I almost feel like it's almost like some friends are seasonal, where they come into your life and they teach you something, whether it's teaching you to do something better, or they're teaching you, like, oh, how they're acting is things that you shouldn't be doing, or they just say something like, oh yeah, thank you, I needed that. And I really think that everybody comes into your life at the right time, and there's a reason for everything. And I think as you get older, you get better at recognizing these people that come into your life to use you, or they come in to take something from you, or they come in to give you something and then they leave. Because, I mean, there's so many people like that. Gay LGBTQ plus people are very transit in a lot of ways, where they can move around. They don't have kids in school that they have to stick around for the same school district, or most of them don't. Because my friend Tony has 2 kids, but he moved to California for 6 years, and he has 2 girls, and he moved back to Boston. And so the girls that he has have already moved, 3 times in their life. And yeah, I think people just really come into your life there's a reason for everything that happens. And you can feel the relationship when it's good. When there's a shift happening. Sometimes it takes a little longer to kind of clean those people out when there's a shift. And sometimes those chosen family, who you think is your chosen family, can be broken. But I'm just telling you, there's just certain people that in your life that will never, ever leave. And that for me is just, there's people I know no matter what happens. So I'll just say this. This is getting really kind of personal, but My mom is alive still. And like, if I ever needed anything, if I needed money, if I needed a place to live, if I needed anything, my mother would do anything for me. And that is like such a sense of security and safety that I have. But I think about, my mom is getting older. She had some health issues. She's better now, but she did have some health issues for about a year. And I started thinking, like, oh God, when my mom dies, like, what happens? Like, I don't really have that safety blanket anymore. But this is what got me through it. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Okay, now back to the show. But this is what got me through it. And I'm not going to get emotional about this, but it's my friends. It's my friend Jennifer. It's my friend Mandy. It's my friend Tony. It's those friends like that I know if I lost everything, I had no job, no money, nothing, I know I could call any of them and say, I got to come to live with you. I got to come stay with you. I need whatever I asked for, they would do what they could. And that for me is just, I don't know, just a sense of security. And I hope everybody has those friends that no matter what happened, that you could call on them. It's like, again, chosen family. Jennifer would say, yes, come live with me. Would it be ideal? Fuck no. I don't want to live with any of my friends. But if I had no other choice, or if I was sick, that's the other thing I thought about. My mom's gone one day, and let's say I get cancer and I have to go through treatment. My dad went through cancer twice, and thank God he had my mom. My mother-in-law went through cancer and Parkinson's, and thank God her husband loved her as much as he did, and he took care of her for nearly 5 years, like, did more for her during those 5 years than he probably did the other decades that they were together, and he really, really cared for her, and it's so lucky. And so, yes, I feel very happy that I have a husband, that I know that if something happens to me, one day he'll be there to take care of me. But I also know I have this group of chosen family, these friends that I'll have forever, that if I really got sick, they would come and take care of me. They'd be there for me. I have an aunt who's like my mother, and I know she will be there for me. She went through cancer. And so, yeah, just, I don't know. It's like, I think as you get older, you start thinking about things like, what if I get sick, or what if my parents aren't here and I need money, or I need a place to live, because they've always been there for me if I needed anything. So, anyway, that went really deep. And I was telling you a little bit about what I think about maybe whenever I'm trying to go to sleep at night and I can't go to sleep is, one day I'm going to need something from someone. And I feel very lucky that I have multiple people I could count on and be with, or that would be there for me to take care of me if I needed it. And same thing for me. If any of those people I just mentioned, needed me to fly out tomorrow to be with them, I would do it just like that. I would be with them, give them money, let them live with me, do whatever it took, whatever they needed. I would do anything for them. So as this world becomes more harsh and harder to live in, you hear all this negative news and just the world's, the wars and the negativity that's happening and the anti-trans bills that are coming out from the United States government. And I do a podcast, for those of you who don't know, called Listen Up Girl. It's my other podcast. It's like 10 minutes or less of LGBTQ plus news. I do it about 7 days a week. And the stories that I read on there, more than 50% of them are negative now. And it's really hard to just realize that this world is not the most positive place. Where at one point I feel like, wow, we're moving in such an amazing direction for the LGBTQ plus community. We had same-sex marriage that was made legal 10 years ago, and all these companies were doing all this DEI stuff, and just like on and on and on. Now, all these companies are backed off. Transgender rights are being taken away. There's these wars happening. There were 674 anti-trans bills that's gone through legislature over the past 18 months. And it's all just kind of sad because I feel like we're going backwards in a lot of ways. Now I'm just kind of babbling. So I just wanted to talk about chosen family and that, I think we all hopefully have that chosen family. If you have your biological family that loves you as much as and you're lucky like me, you are so lucky because there's so many people that don't have it. So wherever you are, whether you're surrounded by love or you're still searching for your people, just keep going. Be authentic to yourself. That's all I can say. Be yourself because the right people don't need a certain version of you. They just need you to be the real you. And that's one of the things that I've learned. Be your authentic self all the time. Don't go and feel like you have to be this forced personality. Don't feel confused about who you are. Just be who you are. And when you find those people, it's going to feel like you're at home. So I hope everybody listening here has found their chosen family or is on the road to finding their chosen family because it puts you in a better space. It puts you in a community where you know that you're cared about. And it's just an amazing feeling. So thanks for listening to me. I feel like maybe I babbled a little this episode, but I just been thinking about these videos that I watched about these kids coming out of to the parents and, the positive reactions and the negative reactions. And just kind of made me think about how lucky I am. And I hope that you, again, have that same love in your life too. So thanks for listening to the Everything and Anything in a Bit podcast. I need comments on my show. So I'm asking you to please go to the podcast platform that you're listening to and leave a comment or leave a rating. And that just helps get my show out to more people. And thanks for listening. I'll be back next week with more LGBTQ plus stories and all that good stuff. So thanks for listening.